What's going on, fandom force and Cosmogs fans alike? It's this fandom base coming at you with our week number 2 PMC match of Season 6. Your New York Cosmogs are taking on the LA Spark Surfers, coached by Pokemaster Mike. And yeah, without much further ado, we're going to kind of hop into this kind of quick. I want to say kind of quickly, but you know how we do. We don't go quickly at all. So hopefully you guys enjoyed last week's battle, and this week, if you didn't watch the prep, please go check it out before you watch this battle so that you have an insight onto what I'm bringing and why I'm bringing it. And without much further ado, we'll take a quick recap. We're bringing a modest Scarf Mesper, we're bringing a physically defensive Mandibuzz, bringing a sub-nasty plot Salazzle, we're bringing a physically defensive Ferrothorn, Swords Dance, Ground EMZ, Garchomp, and we're bringing a Spadef Cosmic Power Clefable. And looking at his team on matchup, he brought everything I expected except he brought Rotom, and Fortress instead of Hawlucha and shoot, what's that other one I thought he would bring? Perhaps couldn't tell you. Beedrill. He didn't bring Mega Beedrill. So yeah, still he's got a good bit of initiative. I say good. He's got a good bit of initiative. He's got double Volt Switch here with Fortress and Rotom. He's got three hazard setters in Rotom, Mamo, and Necrozma. Yeah, there's not too much else to say about this. Looking at his team, I think he will lead with either Mamoswine or potentially with his Rotom, and I kind of wanted to play off that and see what he would go for turn 1. So I'm going to lead, like I said, with my Scarf Mesprit to kind of see how we're going to match up here. Now, if he leads with this Mamoswine and gets up rocks, we can scout damage on it and see how much we do to it with grass or the energy ball. He does in fact lead with this Mamoswine, leading me to believe that he's trying to get rocks up turn 1. So I lead with Mesprit to catch him here, and I'm not going to waste any time. No need to ever predict here. I am just going to straight up turn 1 click energy ball, because there's no sense in predicting. There's no sense in clicking U-turn when it doesn't do much damage and he could potentially get rocks up for free. So he does come into his Pyroar here, and we click energy ball, and that does negligible damage. It goes about 20% actually, which is a decent chunk, but that's coming from a modest Mesprit. Now, of course here, there's really no reason for me to stay in. I'm locked into energy ball. And I have a good switch into this thing that we can scout it set with, and that's Clefable. So we're going to do that. We're going to bounce hard out into Clef and see what kind of damage he's doing here. So you're going to see he goes for a Flamethrower here. And this is what I was talking about, of being glad that I wasn't unaware, because that burn would have sucked. However, the damage you see here tells me that he is actually non-attack boosting item timid, which means that he's either Scarf or he's something else. And I'm just going to be under the assumption this entire match that he's Scarfed, because that way he could potentially shut down my Salazzle. And that's the thing I was sitting here thinking when I saw that he did Scarf damage, or non-boosted item damage. That I was like, oh crap, he brought the one set I didn't want to see. So there's that. So we're going to need our leftovers back, and we can easily chew another hit from this thing. So we click knockoff here, because what I'm expecting him to do is make a switch into either Fortress, or maybe even aggressively into Mamoswine, to try and either get rocks up, or put some offensive pressure on. And so he makes the switch, and he goes into his Rotom. So I'm like, okay, well, we click to knock off here, so that we can guaranteed remove an item, and turns out we were right about the choice specs Rotom, which is great, because that's one less threat versus us, because now we can easily chew hits from this thing all day long. And you're going to see this what would have been Specs Thunderbolt is now bouncing off Clefable. It's doing like 28 to 30%. I clicked knockoff here on the off chance he wanted to go out into something else to try to pivot, especially after he had a choice specs knocked off. I would have thought he would have switched out to try to, catch me either recovering or whatever. But really, in hindsight, I see why he didn't go out. But knockoff was still my play, because I was kind of scouting what he was going to do. He can't paralyze me, so there's no reason really. He can't even kill me with 2 crits anyway. So here's for Thunderbolt again. Here is where I decide I'm going to click Soft Foil to make sure I can get up to a good amount of health to be able to check Necrozma still. So here's where an opportunity I could have really started setting off with this thing because it really would have benefited me and put a lot of pressure on him. But I didn't want to kind of reveal that too early. So here I make the read. I knew he's going to go for volt switch or hard switch here. And I decided I'm going to click knockoff as he does go into his mammoth swine, which is perfect for me. So I click knockoff here and I get rid of this thing's expert belt, now making it so that my Garchomp can live an ice shard from this thing, even if he's adamant max attack. So that's perfect for me. Now here, I have a very safe switch into my Ferrothorn, and I kind of want to scout what he's going to do. So we normally could have stayed in here and clicked soft foil to scout his investment, but instead I figured I'd take the safe route, keep this thing healthy, go into and not risk the flinch here. So I decided to go into my Ferrothorn as he goes for an Icicle Crash. And see, I could have potentially been flinched there, and that would have really sucked. So we're going to take this crash like a champ. It does about 25% or so, which is great. Now you're going to see here we easily chew that hit. That tells me that the thing is adamant. And now that we've knocked off his item, it's not going to be a threat to us much anymore. So here is my opportunity to set up rocks, and we're going to take it. Now here I expected him fully to go into Pyroar to get in before rocks. But instead he goes into Fortress. I guess he was expecting to be able to spin the rocks away, so in before rocks again, to keep it sturdy intact, which makes sense. So here, we're going to get back up some more healthful leftovers, and I'm thinking here, I'm just going to click Leech Seed, because I know he's going to spin to get rid of my rocks, and he's just going to take damage for that. So he does a whole 3 damage, takes Iron Bar, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to click Leech Seed to make sure I keep his health low, so he can't recover that back up with his leftovers that he may have. We're essentially going to negate his leftovers here. As you'll see, leftovers are here. But between Leech Seed and, yeah, Leech Seed is going to keep him so that he's not going to be anywhere close to be able to get leftovers back. And so that really helps us keep him low and keep him so that sturdy's not a factor. So we're going to set rocks up again as he withdraws. He goes out into his Necrozma, actually. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this thing is 100% running Heat Wave, and he's going to click Calm Mind here. Either he's going to click Calm Mind or he's going to outright just attack me, or even set up rocks of his own. So here, I really contemplated going for Gyro Ball, but I didn't think it was worth potentially risking the Heat Wave and just straight up killing me. And so instead I decided to go out into my Clefable, which is this is my best check to it at the moment. I don't have a good quote-unquote check to Necrozma, especially now that it's click Calm Mind. That thing is a problem. It will 2-hit KO any variant of Clefable that I have, which really sucks. But funny enough, I can, after this leftovers, I'm out of range of a timid Photon Geyser, which is great, because that's always nice. And he clicks Photon Geyser here, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's Rocky MC. Even so, Rocky MC is going to kill me. So I click Soft Foil here to kind of scout the damage. And I look, and I go, okay, so this thing, funny enough, after this, I'm actually out of range by 1 HP of another Photon Geyser. His max roll is 124, I'm at 125. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to stay in here, click Moonblast to get damage off on this thing. So I can go into Garchomp and guarantee kill it. He busts out the Psyche MZ, though. So I'm thinking, and it was funny that I was so close to going to Mandibuzz here. I mean, I was incredibly close to going to Mandibuzz here to kind of scout what else he's going to have. But I didn't want to run the risk of him going for Rocky MZ to cover both of those. And he told me later in the game that he actually did have Rocky MZ at one point, but he changed it at the last minute to Psyche MZ. So I was really kicking myself for not going to Mandibuzz here, because we do lose our Clefable here. But it's no big deal, because really Clefable wasn't checking much on his team. Como's not here. And other than that, there's really no reason. So now we go into our Mandibuzz here, and you'll see here, he withdraws. And this kind of screams something important to me. This tells me he does not have Power Gem, meaning that his best way to hit me is Heat Wave. It kind of tells me that he's not going to be able to sweep me with this thing. Can Whirlwind him out, and let's go with that. So here, I actually click Foul Play on the off chance he stays in, because it is a 2-hit KO, or it's a roll 2-hit KO, because he didn't take rocks. But Tapu Fini comes in, and that's perfectly fine. So we're going to take this, it's going to take this Foul Play like a champ, which I fully expected, and that's okay. Now, the thing here is, here's where I have to start making some plays to get myself ahead of the game. Right now it's kind of a tit for tat kind of game, where we're really not getting very far. I'm just kind of scouting sets, and it seems like he's doing the same. Now this thing is leftovers, which makes sense. And now that my knockoff spammer is gone, but really I knocked off two of the most vital items in a Specs Rotom and the expert build Mamoswine. Those will come into play later too. One of them came into play already with the Rotom not being able to come close to killing my Clefable, but the Mamoswine will come in later. Now here, I know for a fact he's not going for Moonblast here. Ferrothorn is such an obvious switch in. Ferrothorn is a very obvious switch in here because its dual stab is walled by Ferrothorn, and so I know that he's got one of two moves to go for here that can shut down Ferrothorn. He's got Nature's Madness, or he's got HP Fire, or he's got both. Now, either one, Mandibuzz does not care about. And really, I have no good way to pressure this Tapu Fini at the moment, because of the fact that Water Stab is going to destroy Salazzle. I did not bring Heliolisk either, so that's a problem. The other issue is that Garchomp can't kill it with a neutral Tectonic Rage. Not after this round of leftovers it would take. And the other issue is that Fortress, well, what am I thinking? Ferrothorn is not a switch in here because I know he's going for Nature's Madness or HP Fire. And since Clef is gone, it can't wall this thing or click Soft Foiled on it either. And I think that's everything I have versus him. Oh, Mesprit. Mesprit, I wouldn't want to take that much damage if I'm going to try to click Healing Wish with it later. So, on this note, I do actually decide to Whirlwind here to scout what he's going to go for. And as you'll see, he goes for Nature's Madness, which is what I expected. So, that way we could, the fattest mom we have on the board is taking this hit, which is great because we can still live a hit after this anyway. But he goes into gets Whirlwind down to the one thing this thing can't wall. That's Mamoswine. Now, luckily we are out of range of Ice Sharp. Definitely not Icicle Crash. Well, I don't know. I didn't really calc that part. All I know is that my easy switch in here is Ferrothorn. And I'm pretty sure he's going to know that, but I can't afford to risk that. When he could potentially pivot into Pyroar, but Pyroar is not a huge threat to me. Not when I've got I would say I got Garchomp in the back, but I really wouldn't risk that either. But we're going to pivot out. We're going to switch out. But he makes a switch into Fortress, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So here, I'm expecting him to make a double, or to spin one or the other. So I myself make the double into Garchomp, because I was hoping he would kind of double into Necrozma, we could take it out. But he goes for Spikes here, which is really interesting to me. So he was trying to get them in before my Garchomp, because after a Spike, Garchomp would be in range of Ice Sharp from Mamoswine. That tells me he was adamant as well, based off of him setting up the Spike. So here I click SD. Now here is where the fun begins, because he clicks Rapid Spin, which actually still does not put me in range of Ice Shard from Mamoswine. Funny enough, I'm like 2 or 3 points above that. Now, he gets rid of my rocks here, and I know for a fact he's switching. I also know for a fact that the Misty Terrain's gone, so I can click Dragon Claw and actually hurt something. Here, I know for a fact he's going to go back out, probably into Tapu Fini. So I click Rocks here to make sure that he knows that rocks are staying up. I'm not letting this thing get away with this. He goes into Necrozma, though, and I think that, and here's where he makes a really good play. He baits me to go for the Ground EMZ, and really I couldn't afford not to, because I wanted to kill this thing. I didn't know whether Earthquake was going to kill it or not. A +2 Earthquake. So he makes the double out into his Rotom, which is super smart. And I really commend him on this play for this. Like, this is such a god play for him, honestly. It was so good. You see this Tectonic Rage come out. He made a really big risky play here because it could have been Poison EMZ, and that would have killed it. But yeah, obviously, Ground EMZ just does nothing to Rotom. But instead, we're just going to click Dragon Claw here because I was a little frustrated. I was like, crap, he called me. So I click Dragon Claw, and this thing dies. Like, this thing's just dead. And this is where we're going to see a little bit of prep go wrong here, I think. Now here's where I make the best comeback play I can. Because here's my line of thinking in this particular moment. He's got Mamoswine out. It's 5v5. Ice Shard cannot kill me from this range. Meanwhile, Earthquake kills this thing. Dragon Claw kills this thing. Um, if he thinks he's going to force me out with Ice Shard, it doesn't matter because if I come back in on a spike, I'm in range of Ice Shard. So there's no reason for me to switch out, in a way. And another reason is that I know he's predicting me to switch out because this thing is such a huge win condition right now. Not even win condition is just a good breaker, and I don't want to get stopped short. That's my line of thinking. So that's what I think he's thinking. So I think he's going to make a double because he's going to expect me to go into my Ferrothorn. He's going to go into his Pyroar. Now I know for a fact Ferrothorn beats the rest of this team, honestly, outside of Pyroar. Now, Ferrothorn can wall the rest of this team outside Pyroar because Rotom's gone. Now, granted, Tapu Fini, I didn't know until later, does have HP Fire. So, but I do have Power Whip, which will one-shot it from the range it's at. The other thing that I'm thinking is, because his only Levitator's gone now, I can spam Earthquake and kill whatever comes in, even if he makes a double. So my thought process here is he's going to double, and it doesn't matter what he goes into, it's going to die to an Earthquake, because I still have Rocks up. This is where having two Rockers came in super clutch, and then I got Rocks back up, and now he has no way to remove them without just being bodied, honestly. And at this point in the game, I could afford to make this risk because I need to get myself in the winning position. If I did not make this play here, then I potentially lost the game to this Mamoswine in conjunction with Tapu Fini and potentially Pyroar, honestly. Because Pyroar in before Garchomp gets an attack off on it is essentially a death sentence. Because Pyroar could potentially become a problem for me. Granted, Pyroar was shut down by Mesprit, I thought about later, but it did have Dark Pulse, so if it lived a Psychic, which I don't think it could, yeah. The resources were in my hands to win this game. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't lose to some kind of crazy hacks or anything like that. So, in this position, I'm looking at this match and I'm going, if I don't make this play now, I make it harder for me to win. I'll have to try to get Mesprit into a position to win, or get Salazzle into a position to win. And Salazzle is going to be really hard position to win. Now, instead, what I do here, it seems like a really, really questionable play because who stays in on Mamoswine with Garchomp, right? Me. Because I know he's switching, and I called the switch. And I got him on the switch. The one thing that was faster than me in this entire matchup is the one thing he switches in. And it's a good reason why I thought Ferrothorn would be coming in. But instead I stayed in and clicked Earthquake. So now I essentially have the game won. Because unless he has priority on something, nothing else on his team is priority. Nothing else on his team is faster than me now that I've scouted all the items. So Fini comes in, and after this Rocks damage, it is in guaranteed range of Earthquake. There's nothing it can do to stop me. So this +2 Adamant Earthquake from Garchomp is going to take out this Tapu Fini. +2 EQ had a roll of like 84 to 100. So it was in guaranteed range after 2 rounds of Rocks anyway. After 1 round of Rocks, it was almost guaranteed. So next up, he comes into Necrozma. And this is the one thing I haven't put any damage on. But even a max HP Necrozma died to +2 Earthquake. So, after Rocks. So, that's why Rocks were so crucial this match. So Garchomp could just come in and do this. And it did its job. It did exactly what I wanted to do. It broke the team, but it broke it so well that it ended up just killing everything. As you're going to see, he goes into his Mamoswine here to try to bluff the Ice Shard. But even then, Ice Shard was not killing me from this range. Unless he crit me. And it turns out he didn't have Ice Shard. So yeah, have fun thinking about that one. Later, he told me he had Freeze Dry and Toxic in place of it so he could stop Quagsire from being a problem. He was really afraid of Quagsire in this matchup, and totally understandable. It kind of beats Mamoswine, but not as well as Ferrothorn does. And this thing, thankfully, because I kept Rocks up and pressured it really hard, it's definitely in range for +2 Earthquake. +2 EQ one-shot this thing anyway, but I had to make sure Sturdy was broken. So yeah, Garchomp picks up all 6 kills this match, and we pick up a nice 5-0 win versus Mike. And yeah. So yeah, uh, nothing much else to say about this match. It's a really good match. He had me on my toes, especially with that Necrozma set. If he honestly, he had that Necrozma set in such a way that it could have beat me, but he didn't have power gem. So that was the one way that Mandibus was stopping him. It's because he didn't have power gem. And he also had a Moonlight on it instead of power gem. So he was trying to use it as a sweeper, so he would have had to get rid of Mandibus first. And he had the resources to do it with Mammoth Swine plus Tapu Fini plus Rotom really gave him the tools to do so. But in the end, Garchomp just kind of said no. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please go check out Mike's side of the battle. He's a good dude. His link will be either in the description or somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, next week we take on... Who do we take on week 3? Oh, we take on Aaron, 2420, coach of the Calgary Infernape, who is coming off... right now is week 1. He has a loss, but I'm pretty sure he'll bounce. He's good. He's a good dude. He'll bounce back. I actually don't know the outcome of that match, so we'll have to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next week. Bye bye.